Think and Grow Rich Action Guide. So this is the study guide. You get to see it here. Well, you might not be able to see it because of the background. Sorry about that. So, moving on. Introduction. Thoughts are things. There was never anything that did not proceed from a thought. Ralph Waldo Emerson. This workbook is designed to stimulate your mind and your dreams and your desire to achieve, to go beyond where you are now in financial resources, meaningful relationships, and career aspirations. Based on 13 proven and practical principles or steps, you will have the tools and encouragement to advance in life. The sky is the limit, and it all begins with how you think. Truly, thoughts are things, and powerful things at that. When they are mixed with definiteness of purpose, persistence, and a burning desire for their translation into riches or other material objects. There is a true story about Edwin C. Barnes that is worth introducing to you straight away. He is an excellent example of how he allowed his thoughts to motivate him toward pursuing his goal and then enjoyed the abundant financial and personal rewards of his efforts. Edwin C. Barnes discovered the truth that people really can think and grow rich. He didn't discover this overnight. It came little by little, beginning with a burning desire of his to work with the great inventor Thomas Edison. It was a definite desire. Barnes wanted to work with Edison, not for him. He presented himself at Mr. Edison's laboratory and announced that he had come to go into business with the inventor. It could not have been the young man's appearance that got him his start in the Edison office, for that was definitely against him. It was what he thought that counted. Months went by, and apparently nothing substantial was happening toward achieving his goal. But something important was happening in Barnes's mind. He was constantly intensifying his desire to become the business associate of Edison. Psychologists have correctly said that when you are truly ready for something, it puts in an appearance. Barnes was ready for a business association with Edison. Moreover, he was determined to remain ready until he got what he wanted. Eventually, that business alliance became a reality, and it was in operation for more than 30 years. Out of it, Barnes made himself rich in money, but he did something infinitely greater. He proved that people really can think and grow rich. How much actual cash that original desire of Barnes was worth to him, there is no way of knowing. Perhaps it brought him $2 or $3 million, but the amount, whatever it was, is insignificant compared with the greater asset he acquired in the form of definite knowledge that an intangible impulse of thought can be transmuted into its physical counterpart by the application of known principles. One sound idea is all that you need to achieve success. The principles described in this book contain the best and most practical of all that is known concerning ways and means of creating useful ideas. Before we go any further in our approach to the description of these principles, you are entitled to receive this important suggestion. When riches begin to come, they come so quickly in such great abundance that you may wonder where they had been hiding during all these lean years. This is an astounding statement, and all the more so when we take into consideration the popular belief that riches come only to those who work hard and long. Riches begin with a state of mind. When you begin to think and grow rich, you will observe that riches begin with a state of mind and definiteness of purpose. You ought to be interested in knowing how to acquire the state of mind that will attract riches. I spent 25 years in research analyzing more than 25,000 people because I too wanted to know how wealthy people become that way. Riches begin with a state of mind. When you begin to think and grow rich, you will observe that riches begin with a state of mind and definiteness of purpose. You ought to be interested in knowing how to acquire the state of mind that will attract riches. I spent 25 years in research analyzing more than 25,000 people because I too wanted to know how wealthy people become that way. And this is Napoleon Hill speaking, not Renee Buster. These are not my words. I'm reading out of the study guide. Observe very closely that as soon as you master the principles of this philosophy and begin to follow the instructions for applying those principles, your financial status will begin to improve and everything you touch will begin to transmute itself into an asset for your benefit. Impossible? Not at all. One of the main weaknesses of humankind is the average person's familiarity with the word impossible. We know all the rules that will not work. We know all the things that cannot be done. This book was written for those who seek the rules that have made others successful and are willing to stake everything on those rules. Success comes to those who become success conscious. Failure comes to those who indifferently allow themselves to become failure conscious. The object of this book is to help all who seek it to learn the art of changing their minds from failure consciousness to success consciousness. Success comes to those who become success conscious. Another weakness found in altogether too many people is the habit of measuring everything and everyone by their own impressions and beliefs. Some who will read this will believe that no one can think and grow rich. They cannot think in terms of riches because their thought habits have been steeped in poverty, want, misery, failure, and defeat. When William Ernest Henley wrote the prophetic lines, "I am the master of my fate, I am the captain of my soul," he informed us all that we are the masters of our fate and the captains of our souls because we have the power to control our thoughts. In the ether in which this little earth floats, in which we move and have our being, is a form of energy moving at an inconceivably high rate of vibration, and that ether is filled with a form of universal power that adapts itself to the nature of the thoughts we hold in our minds and influences us in natural ways to transmute our thoughts into our physical equivalent. This power makes no attempt to discriminate between destructive thoughts and constructive thoughts. It will urge us to translate into physical reality thoughts of poverty just as quickly as thoughts of riches. Our brains become magnetized with the dominating thoughts that we hold in our minds, and by means with which no one is familiar. These magnets attract to us the forces, the people, and the circumstances of life that harmonize with the nature of our dominating thoughts. Before we can accumulate riches in great abundance, we must magnetize our minds with intense desire for riches, and we must become money conscious until the desire for money drives us to create definite plans for acquiring it. When Edwin C. Barnes climbed down from the freight train in Orange, New Jersey, he may have resembled a tramp, but his thoughts were those of a king. As he made his way from the railroad tracks to Thomas A. Edison's office, his mind was at work. He saw himself standing in Edison's presence. He heard himself asking Mr. Edison for an opportunity to carry out the one consuming obsession of his life, a burning desire to become the business associate of the great inventor. With definite desire, your dominating dream in life will become a reality. Barnes's desire was not a hope. It was not a wish. It was a keen, pulsating desire which transcended everything else. It was definite. The desire was not new. The desire was not new when he approached Edison. It had been Barnes's dominating desire for a long time. In the beginning, when the desire first appeared in his mind, it may have been, probably was, only a wish, but it was no mere wish when he appeared before Edison with it. A few years later, Edwin C. Barnes again stood before Edison in the same office where he first met the inventor. This time, his desire had been translated into reality. He was in business with Edison. The dominating dream of his life had become a reality. People who knew Barnes envied him because of the break life had yielded him. They saw him in the days of his triumph without taking the trouble to investigate the cause of his success. Barnes succeeded because he chose a definite goal, placed all his energy, all his willpower, all his effort, everything into that goal. He did not become the partner of Edison the day he arrived. He was content to start in the most menial work as long as it provided an opportunity to take even one step toward his cherished goal. It is a remarkable illustration of the power of a definite desire. Barnes achieved his goal because he wanted to be a business associate of Mr. Edison more than he wanted anything else. He created a plan to attain that purpose. He burned all bridges behind him. He stood by his desire until it became the dominating obsession of his life, and finally, a fact. Important summary points. All things begin with a thought, positive and negative. Riches begin with a state of mind and a definite purpose. Learning how to control your thoughts is even more valuable than the money it will bring you. Destructive thoughts will translate into reality just as surely as positive thoughts. It is important to choose your thoughts carefully. Take action. Do you allow any and all thoughts to occupy your mind? What steps can you take to control the thoughts that flow into and out of your mind? So one thing that I do is mirror talk and affirmations. Obviously, everyone hears how much I love talking to myself in the mirror to set my mindset in the way that I want it to. Also, my family has heard me talking to myself when I get frustrated or angry, and I replace those ugly negative thoughts with positive and more affirming thoughts. Things that will take me to the right path instead of the wrong path. Number 2, how passionate is your desire to think and grow rich? How can you generate more desire for the things you want? How passionate is my desire to think and grow rich? I would say my passion is pretty strong considering I spend a lot of time invest a lot of time in my future. How can I generate more desire for the things I want? Thinking about them more, planning for them more, and creating a business plan and a vision board and all of those things that you saw me when I did the homework in chapter 1 the first time on my own. Number 3, have you a burning desire that you never voiced aloud? Is there a desire that is so big you are afraid to even consider it seriously? Write that desire down on paper and then say it aloud. What is the first step you will take to make that desire a reality? So now that I've had time to do my homework, number 1, Do you allow any and all thoughts to occupy your mind? What steps can you take to control the thoughts that flow into and out of your mind? My answer is I try to always control my thoughts by educating myself to do and think things that will enhance my life. Self-affirmations, mirror talk, and replacing negative thoughts and words with positive substitutes are a daily routine. How passionate is your desire to think and grow rich? How can you generate more desire for the things you want? And my answer, my passion for a financially secure future is so strong that I spend enormous amounts of time and mental and physical energy facing my financial fears and growing outside my comfort zone. I try to stretch myself and be mindful of opportunities to be uncomfortable in my growth. And I can want things even more by focusing on them even more. Number 3, have you a burning desire that you ever voiced aloud? Never voiced aloud. Is there a desire that is so big you are afraid to even consider it seriously? Write that desire down on paper and then say it aloud. What is the first step you will take to make that desire a reality? When Jason Buckner asked me, if you had $1 million, how would you change the world? I had no idea because I had never considered those kinds of resources in my possession and at my disposal. In brief, I would make a sizable down payment to create an all-inclusive living community for young urban professionals with disabilities, like a Norton Commons, or a assisted living facility like seniors use, something of that nature, with supports for parents and professionals with disabilities. My first step toward this goal will be to get my real estate portfolio in a stronger position and come back to this idea while I'm stewing on what supports I want to provide, where I want to have it, on building out the organized planning, right, that we learned about. All right, so now on to the homework of chapter 1. Desire, the starting point of all achievement. A creative man is motivated by the desire to achieve, not by the desire to beat others. Ayn Rand. First step toward riches. A long while ago, a great warrior faced a situation that made it necessary for him to make a decision which ensured his success on the battlefield. He was about to send his armies against a powerful foe whose men outnumbered his own. He loaded his soldiers into boats, sailed to the enemy's country, unloaded soldiers and equipment, then gave the order to burn the ships that had carried them. Addressing his men before the first battle, he said, "You see the boats going up in smoke? That means we cannot leave these shores alive unless we win. We now have no choice. We win or we perish." Of course, they won. Every person who wins in any undertaking must be willing to burn their ships and cut all sources of retreat. Only by doing so can we be sure of maintaining the state of mind known as a burning desire to win, essential to success. Wishing will not bring riches. Every human being who reaches the age of understanding of the purpose of money wishes for it. Wishing will not bring riches, but desiring riches with a state of mind that becomes an obsession, then planning definite ways and means to acquire riches and backing those plans with persistence, which does not recognize failure, will bring riches. Those who become money conscious accumulate great riches. Money consciousness means that the mind has become so thoroughly saturated with the desire for money that the person can see him or herself already in possession of it. The steps call for no hard labor. They call for little to no sacrifice. They do not require you to become ridiculous or credulous. To apply them calls for no great amount of education. But the successful application of these 6 steps does call for sufficient imagination to enable you to see and to understand that accumulation of money cannot be left to chance, good fortune, and luck. You must realize that all who have accumulated great fortunes first did a certain amount of dreaming, hoping, wishing, desire, and planning before they acquired money. If you do not see great riches in your imagination, you will never see them in your bank balance. Tolerance and an open mind are practical necessities of the dreamer of today. Those who are afraid of new ideas are doomed before they start. Never has there been a time more favorable to pioneers than the present. True, there is no wild and woolly West to be conquered, but there are vast business, financial, industrial, and cyberspace worlds to be explored, remolded, and redirected along new and better lines. Awake, arise, and assert yourself, you world dreamer. Your star is now ascending. The world's economic crises brought the opportunity you have been waiting for. It taught people humility, tolerance, and open-mindedness. The world is filled with an abundance of opportunity that the dreamers of the past never knew. We who are in this race for riches should be encouraged to know that this changed world in which we live is demanding new ideas, new ways of doing things, new leaders, new inventions, new methods of teaching, new methods of marketing, new books, new literature, new features for the radio, new ideas for moving pictures. Back of all of this demand for new and better things, there are 3 qualities you must possess to win. First, definiteness of purpose. Second, knowledge of what you want. And 3, a burning desire to possess it. The recession marked the death of one age and the birth of another. This changed world requires practical dreamers who can and will put their dreams into action. The practical dreamers have always been and always will be the pattern makers of civilization. A burning desire to be and to do is the starting point from which the dreamer must take off. Dreams are not born of indifference, laziness, or lack of ambition. How can you harness and use the power of desire? This question has been answered through this and the subsequent chapters of this book. This message is going out to the world during tumultuous times worldwide. It is reasonable to presume that the message may come to the attention of many who have been wounded by the economic chaos, those who have lost their fortunes, others who have lost their positions, and great numbers who must reorganize their plans and stage a comeback. To all these, I wish to convey the thought that all achievement, no matter what may be its nature or its purpose, must begin with an intense, burning desire for something definite. All achievement begins with an intense, burning desire for something definite. Through some strange and powerful principle of mental chemistry, never divulged, nature wraps up in the impulse of strong desire that certain something that recognizes no such word as impossible and accepts no such reality as failure. There is a difference between wishing for a thing and being ready to receive it. No one is ready for a thing until he believes he can acquire it. The state of mind must be belief, not mere hope or wish. Open-mindedness is essential for belief. Closed minds do not inspire faith, courage, and belief. Remember, no more effort is required to aim high in life, to demand abundance and prosperity, than is required to accept misery and poverty. Important summary points. Success begins with setting a definite goal. Write a clear, concise statement of your definite major purpose. Be specific. If it's monetary, write the exact amount you wish to acquire and set an exact date for when you want to acquire it. Read your statement aloud twice per day. If you do not see great riches in your imagination, you will never see them in your bank balance. Never in the history of the United States has there been so great an opportunity for practical dreamers as now exists. The world we live in is demanding new ideas, new inventions, and new ways of doing things. This means opportunity. To capitalize on these ever-emerging opportunities, you must possess a definiteness of purpose, the knowledge of what you want, and a burning desire to possess it. A burning desire to be and to do is the starting point from which you, the dreamer, must take off. Take action. The method by which desire for riches can be transmuted into its financial equivalent consists of 6 definite practical steps. Fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. It is not sufficient merely to say, I want plenty of money. Be definite as to the amount. There is a psychological reason for definiteness that is described in a subsequent chapter. Determine exactly what you intend to give in return for the money you desire. There is no such reality as something for nothing. Establish a definite date when you intend to possess the money you desire. Create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once, whether you are ready or not, to put this plan into action. Write out a clear, concise statement of the amount of money you intend to acquire. Name the time limit for its acquisition. State what you intend to give in return for the money, and describe clearly the plan through which you intend to accumulate it. Read your written statement aloud twice daily, once just before retiring at night, and once after waking up in the morning. As you read, see and feel and believe yourself already in possession of the money. It is important that you follow the instructions described in these 6 steps. It is especially important that you observe and follow the instructions in the 6th paragraph. You may complain that it is impossible for you to see yourself in possession of money before you actually have it, but here is where a burning desire will come to your aid. If you truly desire money so keenly that your desire is an obsession, you will have no difficulty in convincing yourself that you will acquire it. The object is to want money and to become so determined to have it that you convince yourself you will have it. Okay, so I did my homework. Chapter 1, take action. The method by which desire for riches can be transmuted into its financial equivalent consists of 6 definite practical steps. Number 1, fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. It is not sufficient merely to say, I want plenty of money. Be definite as to the amount. There is a psychological reason for definiteness that is described in a subsequent chapter. My answer was, I will net $75,000 per year for the next 5 years. Determine exactly what you intend to give in return for the money you desire. There is no such reality as something for nothing. I will continue to offer my business-to-business services, business development and coaching, and retail sales. Establish a definite date when you intend to possess the money you desire. This year, 2024, I will net $50,000 from my businesses. Next year, 2025, I will net $75,000 through my businesses. Create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once, whether you were ready or not, to put this plan into action. And as many of you already know, I'm already started that. Number 4. Write out a clear, concise statement of the amount of money you intend to acquire, name the time limit for its acquisition, state what you intend to give in return for the money, and describe clearly the plan through which you intend to accumulate it. I will net profit $50,000 in 2024 and $75,000 beginning in 2025 and for the next 5 years. I will continue to market my services and serve my clients extremely well and learn new ways to enhance their growth, developing a culture of shared growth for us all. Read your written statement aloud twice daily, once just before retiring at night and once after waking in the morning. As you read, see and feel and believe yourself already in possession of the money. It is important that you follow the instructions described in these 6 steps. It is especially important that you observe and follow the instructions in the 6th paragraph. You may complain that it is impossible for you to see yourself in possession of money before you actually have it, but here is where a burning desire will come to your aid. If you truly desire money so keenly that your desire is an obsession, you will have no difficulty in convincing yourself that you will acquire it. The object is to want money and to become so determined to have it that you convince yourself you already have it. And till the next episode, Chapter 2 homework coming up.